Sometimes at best efforts you put the drying process through and it still cracks, like this piece here. It's a half tree trunk, still got the core here, but you can see very closely here the crack has gone all the way through to this. Now normally I'd probably cut this in two, cut the edges off and the outsides and make some turnings out of each half, but this time I'm going to give it a crack at attacking this crack. I'm going to fill this, and I'm going to fill it in such a way that it holds the two halves together. And although not completely safe on the lathe if this is turning around, I'm going to stay very, very attentive and keep out of the way of flying pieces if that's the case. But I really want to keep this piece at the hole. I'm just going to use sawdust now for the solid medium, and of course CA glue, just a Star Bond thin CA. Just get you on that one there. And the idea is just to slowly pour this into the crack and then pour some CA after it, and repeat one after the other. We're going to see how this goes anyway. I'll eventually get this onto the bend saw so we can see if it's really done what it's supposed to do. Bear with me. Drilled a 1/4 inch hole in the centre of the what's going to be the bottom of the bowl here, and I'm going to mount it into the Stockroom Supplies circle cutter. It's a great little tool here for making bowl rounds. So the way this works is generally just place a screw hole in the bowl and wind that in. You can see now the piece of wood has been mounted into the round ripper and it's ready to be band sawed. So I'll bring it in a little bit closer. Now we've got the round bowl blank as it stands, mounted between centres. Now this is going to be the top of the bowl, which is a part that has most of the cracks and filled here. So you can't see it here obviously, but I've filled those cracks deep into the wood. It should hold together, but I'm not 100% certain. That is why I'm going to keep well away from this side of the piece, and do all turning on the face here, flatten this out, flatten out the bottom and put in a foot, and if there's any more filling to be done, well, that will be done as I keep going, if it all stays together. So follow me. You can see here that the crack has filled considerably there. It's solid as a rock. That CA glue with sawdust sets it really nice. So there are still some deviates there, but I mean this is going to hold together, pretty confident on that. So the face here has been turned nice and flat. I'm going to do the same on the bottom. Just a tad more CA glue in that crack. A little more crack filling with some sawdust. This sawdust has actually come from the bandsaw, so it's very, very fine. It's probably a good source to get your right type of sawdust. It needs to be very fine. Fill in the cracks as it's dry, and then just give it a squirt of CA glue. I like to use a pointed yawl just to get down to that crack as far as it will go. And as the crack void appears, fill it again. So it's a bit of a laborious job, but generally it's holding its own. This is the top of the bowl, so we're going to make a lip finish here and slowly filling in these cracks on the side, and we'll start out hollowing the bowl. So I'm going to do the outside of the bowl here with a propane burner. I'm going to take most of the indents of the grains, including the crack that's now become a feature, and going to blacken the outside or embellish it. This is one way of doing it. Now if you're going to try anything like this yourself, make sure you've got a fire extinguisher handy. I'm not joking, just anything in the wood shop, dust, etc. You don't want to ignite any of this and burn the place down, so make sure you've got a fire extinguisher handy. I wouldn't advise doing this if you've never done it before, because it can be a hazardous and dangerous operation. So just be careful with your burner and take it easy and slowly. I usually have this turning around at about as slow as it possibly can on the lathe, so I get a fairly good coverage. That's got about an even coverage there, so now you get a wire brush and some of the laborious jobs here now. I've used a fairly coarse wire brush on this before, it works pretty well, just to take out the blackness and charness of the wood, and that highlights the grain. So I've put in a 2-inch force and a bit and drilled out the centre of the bowl here, take out some of the work, and the outside of this cracks have been treated, but the inside are still pretty void. But that doesn't matter, because most of this material here is going to be removed, and then we'll seal the inside of the bowl with the cracks as well. Hopefully it holds together, but I'm not really concerned with that. Hopefully it will hold together, so we'll see how we go. Now, I wasn't entirely happy with the burning process. It didn't really give that overall matte finish, so I've put on a coat of lacquer, just one coat, and then I'm going to sand this back and put a gold gilt on the outside. Now the inside of the bowl, if I move around this way, aside from the overspray, it's been drilled out, it's been turned out, and the crack now I'm about to fill simply by putting CA glue and sanding it, so it becomes a lot more invisible, but it still will be present. Mylan's sanding sealer coat is now dry. I'm going to put on the Acks paste, Acks polish, and on the inside. On the outside, as I said, we're going to be doing some gold gilt. So I'll get the inside done first and the outside, which will probably need about 24 hours before polishing. I use the Libran gilt cream. It's gold, and basically you apply that with a shop rag in my case, and smooth it all over the outside of the bowl, being careful not to put lumps of it in any one particular place. Try and get it as smooth as possible. The idea here is that the gilt cream is going to go into these cracks and the grain, which is being now hollowed out basically with the wire brush, and of course the initial burning with the flame. So just apply as much as you can without getting overboard on the gilt cream. It does go quite a long way, so a little bit there. Just rubbing it in with small circles all over where you need it to go. Doesn't matter if it goes over the rim, because it's going to get a little bit more of a clean up on the rim. And the gilt cream will of course pull up in some places and not the other, depending on the grain pattern. In this case, there's all sorts of grain directions, because this is a bit of a crotch piece of oak wood, and it's going to go all over the place. So just going to apply that as much as I can. Don't worry about if the gilt cream gets pulled up in some of the cracks. We're going to be buffing off a little bit once it dries after 24 hours. Okay, going to leave that for 24 hours to dry, and we'll take it on to the next. Now it's the next day, and just rubbed a little more of the Acks polish on top of the gold gilt, and it's come out quite good. The finish is fairly glossy with the Acks polish, and the gold gilt is left behind inside the grain, and of course the defects, which includes a friend here, the crack. So quite pleased with the outside. On the inside of the bowl, just around the front here, again it's all polished up, crystalline wax polish, and ready now to remove the foot. Well, here's the finished product. I was in two minds whether or not to put my maker's medallion on the bottom there, but I did in the end. Our friend the crack is still there, but all filled, and of course inside the bowl too. So the crack remained with the project from start to finish. It was the star of the show. Would I actually do this again? I do not think so. There's a number of mistakes that I made, especially using the heat or flame gun. It reacted with the CA glue, and it created more cracks alongside that, which of course in time those cracks would appear as the wood dried out. So I get a good close shot there without it defocusing on the camera, but you can see a close-up there of what I'm talking about right there. But it was fun doing. I have to say that I've learnt using the heat gun, probably not in embellishing bowls any further. It's an art. I'll keep practicing like we all do and give it a go, but at the end of the day, I think just the black gloss lacquer, I should say, wood was ideal, and of course the gold glint offset this grain. One thing about this bowl is the grain. It's just amazing, you can see here. Anyway, enough from me guys. There's the project tomorrow.